Hello. Just give me 1 minute to check that everything is up and running. One, two. Um, Please, Tafadza, I can see you in the chat. If you can hear my voice, can you just confirm that you can hear my voice? Great. Zim Focus Media, thank you for confirming. Uh, this is something I haven't tried before. I mean, I have gone live on a couple of occasions, but this is my first time to go live with a more advanced setup. So I'm streaming for you today everything that I hear inside of my recording software, Logic. And it took me a day to figure things out, how to get the display and the sound and audio and everything routed to the YouTube live stream. So I'm gonna try to not be on edge about the technical stuff and slowly get into the music now. So I think for the next hour, this might be a long stream, we don't know yet. But I'm gonna talk about the entire album. I want to do a breakdown of each song, all the 6 songs on my new album. And this way of breaking down the album is something I've seen other artists do. And there's one in particular, Jacob Collier. He's doing this to a lot of his songs, and he puts it on YouTube. So I thought to myself, that's a nice way to present the music for those who are interested in going into more details and to dig deeper into the material. So yeah, just checking now. Guys, there's a chat. I will be able to see you guys. If you have questions, I'll keep an eye on the chat. Shadrach, Maramba, hello. You can hear my voice, good. So I hope also you will hear everything else. Now, Jacob Collier, he normally spends an hour per song because it's so big. His projects and sessions are just insanely huge. My album is... The album is almost 40 minutes, 6 songs. I'll try now to squeeze in all that into this 1 hour plus to see, yeah. And if you have questions, just shoot in the chat. I'll try to keep up with it. Hello, JTJ and David. Welcome aboard. I'll try to give you some background some background stories about the songs as we go. I think I'm just going to start from the top. We'll do it in the order, the tracks. And the first song on the album is Lost and Found, which was in fact the last song I composed in this album process. And holding my breath now. Some of you've heard it already. Yeah, that's the intro. Oh, I almost forgot. I was thinking of wearing this thing in the beginning. Yeah, COVID-19 in Norway as well. And I see some from South Africa following now. I know that you guys are on a different level of restrictions now. Eesh. We hope for this thing to be over soon. Um, and I'm in my home, safe and sound, and I thought at least I can do this live session as a way of offering some sort of entertainment. I'm just checking that the system is still working. Excellent connection. Okay. Is there a hang up on the live stream, guys? I see Zim Focus Media asked about it. Let me know in the chat if there is problems about the stream. All right. This song, Lost and Found, starts, yeah, as we have heard. I have a guitar line. Without the amplifier effects, this is the dry signal. So to make it sound right, I have tweaked it. I'm just gonna play it one more time, and we're gonna listen to the rhythm guitars for a minute. Okay, JTJ, how long did it take to come up with the lines? This particular line, I think I got the beginning. It was something that I started playing on. And there's this little detail here. This, and that is something I kind of, I think I've heard a Madzi Baba album where they're playing it like this part. And I wanted to stitch in and sew together like a powerful line with a lot of detail. So this is the more densely packed lead guitar line that I have put on this album, I think. Now, let's go into the rhythms for a minute. The one rhythm guitar is. What I did is I first composed the lead line together with the bass. So. And the bass follows the lead guitar. That was my attempt to have a bass line that supports the lead guitar line. And the rhythms are just the meat behind. And they also have a few variations on the rhythm. If we go to the verse, the thing is the rhythm guitars are pretty much the same. In the whole beginning. Go into the vocals for a bit. I have to admit I'm not so prepared, so I'm just gonna improvise on this breakdown. Yeah, we have this main vocal line.
It is nowhere to
Sorry, this one.
be found. It won't even make a sound. It is nowhere to be found. It is nowhere to be found. It won't even make a sound. It is nowhere to be found.
So singing in harmony. And then I have the additional voices.
It is nowhere to be found. It won't even make a sound. It is nowhere to be found. It is nowhere to be found. It won't even.
Oh, this is actually the main line, as the way I see it. And I dubbed it, so I doubled it.
It is nowhere to be found. It won't even make a sound. It is nowhere to be found. It is nowhere to be found. It won't even make a sound. It is nowhere to be found. It is nowhere to be found. It won't even make a sound. It is nowhere to be found.
Yeah, so there's 5 lines in this verse. And I tried to set up a pretty classic Sungura arrangement for the beginning here. After the introduction of the lead guitar, it plays a variation before it introduces the vocal.
You've been looking everywhere, searching even under there. You've been looking everywhere.
With the lead guitar, what's it called? Intercepting? Coming in between the verses. And after the final verse, we go back to the main motif once again. And then okay, just a question here. JTJ, did you always create the bass with the lead lines first on all songs? I think on this song, the main idea was the guitar lead line. Then I hooked on the bass lines and then did the rhythms. So after playing the repetition of this lead line, I found this other continuation. Now, yeah, all of this, this whole song is lead guitar driven, so everything else was composed following the lead guitar. And on this particular part, I tried to boost the melody, lead line with the bass. And what has happened to the rhythm guitars in the meantime? Because they were playing the entire song they've been playing this repeating. And now so when the lead guitar goes, the rhythm plays a different line. And in a lot of Sungura songs, after this variation thing, it kind of cools down a bit. But I wasn't ready for that. I wanted the pump to still happen. So from here we go into that other part. 2, 3, and. And this is something very different from the rest of the song. The guitar goes into this sort of. I mean, we have a. I'm moving to the snare drum of the drums. This is something inspired by Congolese music, like seben, and with the bass. Let's try it again. Boom, boom. And then bass details. And while this is happening, the vocals, I created this weird vocal background.
Deeper, deeper,
It's a four layers.
deeper, deeper, deeper,
And then the last.
deeper, deeper.
As well as a megaphone shouting.
Deeper, deeper, deeper.
So this is a bit of a crazy thing.
Deeper, deeper.
Some experimental vocals there. And it's very far into the background in the mix, so I mean you can't hear it clearly. But it's there. Another thing about trying to glue this stuff together is the lead guitar had been playing. And as we go into the seben Congolese part, this guitar is continuing that. And we're also moving away to a different key. Well, it's a related key to the main key, which is this is a. I think it's in C major, eh? Do 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 do. Bum, bum, 1, 4, 1, 5. But as we go into the seben, it's like a 1, 4, a 1, 5, a 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 4, 1, and 5. We're on the 5. The bass is still on the 5th. So this one is kind of dropping away from the main key of the song. It's kind of ambiguous. Because this line is kind of the center here, but the rest of the song. Let's see where it goes. So then we're back to the main floor again. Noah, Mariga, why your songs are not on YouTube? So the crazy thing is everything is on YouTube. I've released this album on all the major streaming platforms and also on YouTube Music, but not every country has the YouTube Music available. So if you're in Zimbabwe, it's actually not available on YouTube. In South Africa, it is, because South Africa is one of those countries um, with YouTube Music. So if you're in Zim and you happen to have a VPN service, you can use that to access the songs on YouTube. But you can also get the album on my Bandcamp page, so the link is in the description. Look, I've already spent 20 minutes now on this first song, and I'm gonna wrap it up on this one. That little kick. That is very Tongai Moyo inspired. And then it repeats after the vocal stuff.
You've been looking everywhere. You've been looking everywhere, searching even under there. You've been looking everywhere.
Yeah, and this way of singing, I mean, I'm kind of speaking.
You've been looking everywhere, searching even under there. You've been looking everywhere.
With this rhythm. Actually, it's something I started thinking about after hearing a song of Lizzo, an American singer.
You've been looking everywhere.
And this is the point where the rhythm guitars are shining through, just before the bass solo starts. Now, the bass solo is, let's see, throughout the song, this is the bass sound. And for the solo, I've turned on some effects. Yeah, this song has a lot of stuff in it, but I wanted to put a bass solo at the end. It's packed, and there's this little tribute to Macheso in the bass solo as well. When we get to those when he spins, rolls on those high notes. So that's yeah, you can call it a ripoff, but I did try to put it into my own solo. And also the structure of the solo, I try to keep it in the Macheso spirit, sticking to one main phrase and working around that in a lot of different variations. And as we come to the end of the song, we have the Tungai Moyo kick again coming. And as we wrap up the song, there's some extra vocals coming in. This is there's that.
I guess it's lost and found. I guess it's lost and found.
Yeah, and and I don't remember how many takes I did on the drums, but at the end here, I got like this long fill.
I guess it's lost and found.
A busy drum roll there. All right, that's the Lost and Found. I tried to keep keep it like a classical Sungura start, and then it just went crazy with the seben part and then the little twists in there. Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Trevor, Omer, love the seben experimentation. Yeah, I mean, Sungura and DRC music is so closely connected, and I mean, it derives from one another. And it's a lot of fun to. I mean, Tungai Moyo did a lot of. I read that he was really fond of the Congolese rumba. He used to spice up his performances. He started dressing up the band like, you know, DRC, Suku's bands and the rumba bands. And you could hear it in the music that he was sort of experimenting. Yeah, that's a good recipe. Tanatsua, thank you. Let's move on. The next song that I did is called Sometimes. Look, I've already spent 26 minutes here, so I'm gonna try to be a bit shorter on this one. The whole thing about this song is that it's based on this guitar line. So I gave it a bass line. And this is a bit of a... This isn't really clean Sungura. It's a bit an offshoot. And harm the... In terms of the chords. It's like... 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 1, 4, 1, 1, 5, 1. So it's following that, but it's kind of misplaced. And with the drums give it the Sungura beat. And then I found this, I created this lead line. Sorry. Very chill, laid back. I think I was listening to Hugh Masekela at the time when this guitar line just popped into my head. And then we have some vocals.
Sometimes we win.
It's 3 voices.
Sometimes we win. Sometimes we lose. Sometimes we spin. Sometimes.
And on the verses, the bass, because in the beginning the bass was playing like. And then comes the verse. Guitar gives us some breathing space between the vocals. There's 3 occurrences of this vocal.
Sometimes we lie. Sometimes.
So after the 3rd one, there's a repetition. And at this point we enter like a totally different room. And I'm gonna explain how this came about. I told you how this whole thing is based on this guitar line. And then it moves. another movement. And so it's a modulation. So here you can hear the original guitar line, which has now started to move around, and then there's a second comp guitar, which is playing very jazzy, almost like bossa nova kind of rhythm. And then the cycle, top. So that was the whole cycle, and it repeats 4 times. Okay, I'm getting nerdy now. Guys, I'm not... I should have put a disclaimer in the beginning. This is nerd alert. I'm going deep into the details here. And I'm not showing you how to play this on the guitars. This is only the audio session that we're looking at. But I'll try to balance it. So what happens is we have... So this is a space for it's kind of color paint brushing. I was using a delay based guitar to kind of make it big. This one. I'm just gonna mute the background guitars, and there's this guitar line here. And imagine if I had not put those effects, it would have sounded like this. And on top of this, I invited my friend Tinashe Makura to add some vocals. And then he goes into some insane singing. And this is happening at this point. Sorry. And just for details, I've put in some chimes. chimes and also extra cymbal rolls just to crank up the build-ups. And a kind of panning left and right to give it some more imaging. Oh, and the last detail about this part is that the bass and the drums are really walking into funk territory. So I mean, the bass is playing very low notes. This is not Sungura typical. And then the drums will eventually go into almost like a disco. And I'm even slapping on the bass, if you hear this. Pulling the strings and slapping, so it's bordering to some funk stuff. And then it goes into repeats of the beginning motif. And a very abrupt ending. Boom, boom, boom. I didn't want this one to fade out. It's just a very quick, sweet ending. Yeah. There was one comment. I could see somebody from Namibia, and thank you so much for tuning in. Frank Simba, audio quality is on fire with this. Thank you. Remember, this is the mix. This is before the mastering. So after the mastering, this was sounding even more juicy and full and beefy. So this is quite... Now that I'm listening to the mix, it sounds a bit thin in my ears. The third song on the album is Dinotenda. And this is where I'm singing in Shona, guys. This is something I created after... A couple of years ago, I uploaded a video on YouTube about my trip to Zimbabwe. And there was this background music. Sorry. So initially, I just had this little thing used in a video. And a lot of people kept asking me about it, like, where can I find it? Where is this music? And I hadn't done anything to it. Like, it was only this. That was it. That was the only thing with an extension. And then I wanted to use that, but to me it didn't feel as the beginning of a song. It was more like something far into a song. So I came up with this beginning, where the song is at a very different, like the chords are set up a bit different here. So it's like a long intro melody. And this lead line is, when I was some years ago, when I was in South Africa, there was a field band, like a brass band, school band orchestra with kids playing a tune, and there are some there are some melodic elements from that one that stuck to my head, and kind of rephrased it a bit. Not this one, but this part. I believe those are like sixth intervals, moving. So and in the beginning, the rhythm guitars are playing very a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. With the bass. Yeah, and the vocals, if I go one by one. Oh, as we see, this vocal part consists of 5 tracks.
Dino tender, thank you for the love. Dino tender, thank you for the love.
Yeah. If we break them down, we're looking at, this is the main part. Let's see.
Dino tender.
Yeah. And then on each side.
Dino tender, thank you for the love.
So I just doubled the top voice, and then there's a lower voice, also double.
Dino tender, thank you for the love.
And all of them together.
Dino tender, thank you for the love.
Yeah.
Tender, thank you for the love. Dino tender, thank you for the love.
And after that, there's a repetition of the lead guitar until the change. Midway through the song, the change comes. The part that I just talked about. And that's where the chords now changes the like in the beginning it was so in the beginning the chords are like 1, 4, 5, 1. But now we're changing into a 1, 4, 1, 5. It's just doubling or something like that. Frank Simba, did you mixing yourself or did you hire an engineer? Yeah, I've mixed everything on my own. It's a very selfish personal production. No, I wanted to have complete control over the sound, although I'm not professional in mixing. But this was a really good journey for me to get some experience from mixing. Of course, when it was time for mastering, my mastering engineer had a lot to suggest in the mix, so we did have to work on it for a bit.
For all the doors you open, wide open. For all the doors you open, wide open.
Yeah, another thick layer of vocals there. It's like 5 voices at once.
For all the times you waited, with patience. For all the times you waited, with patience.
It's 5 tracks, but it's only 3 voices. 3-part harmony. Yeah. At this point, the rhythm guitars are really, really busy playing this line. Let me crank them up a bit. And outro is simply the lead guitar kind of disintegrating. The bass has escaped. This is the actual recording from that YouTube video. When I said I used this as a music background for one of my YouTube videos, I tried to recreate it and play it again, re-record it, but it didn't sound the same. And there's a lot of mistakes in here. I think now. Hear that? It doesn't belong there. But I just kept it. Alright, that was Dino Tenda. The fourth song on the album, you know it quite well. It's Roller Coaster. When I was recording it last year, this was the working title. E major tracking part 2. Anyway, let's open the files. Warren Zumba, did you also master? No, I did not do the mastering. I had a friend and a mastering engineer taking care of that. Yeah, I'm not gonna take too much time on Roller Coaster, but I want to show you guys something that I have done. In order to record all of my songs, I needed like a guide track. So in fact what I did was to create MIDI parts for all the instruments. I'm just going to bring down the volume a bit. So when I was, after I had composed the song on the guitar, I actually wrote all of the notes into like a MIDI. Let me show you. Excuse me. There we go. So I just created the lead part and the bass in MIDI with the drums, but not the rhythms. Like a roller coaster. And I did this in order to record everything else. So then I would remove the MIDI and record. Like I always start with the drums. So I kept the bass and the using this MIDI piano and bass, then I could put the drums on that. So this is the actual real drum kit.
Coaster, going high and low, feeling
And then when I had the drums, I put the rhythm guitars, then the bass, and then the lead is actually the final thing. Usually that I compose in the other order. I compose starting with the lead, but when I record, I do the drums because everything has to relate to the kick and the hi-hat. Then I put maybe the 2 rhythm guitars, like from there I add the bass. And then I go with the lead guitar at and or maybe the vocals is the very last part. Yeah. We have Jackson Kasamba here featured.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you Eric, the new son, Sungura boy. Everyone listen to this kutita.
It's a bit of reverb on his voice. Yeah, nothing fancy.
One murungu. Usazoti azoti mafaro atakwese. Au. Auyane mafaro, auya kuzofaza mundu wese. Auyane mafaro, auya kuzofaza tese. Simuka iwo sisi.
Yeah, and again we have a bass solo. And the bass has some effects, sounding like, if I switch off the effects, bring it back on, it's a phaser. Yeah. Let's move on. The 5th song of the album is called She Tired. Let's see what we have here. Okay, those couple of seconds is kind of capturing. The idea here was to have, if you listen to this line, this is an intro, but it's also a very important element later in the song. At some point, this song goes into but I'll hang on. What we have here is a rhythm combo. Bass. One, two, three. Yeah. How did this song come about? I'm trying to backtrack. Yeah, I just came up with this very, very simple, if I press the repeat button here. It's like a very repeating pattern. The thing is, this song starts off in a very like happy kind of mood, but there's a darker side to it. We have these vocals.
She's tired of being indignified. She's tired of hearing the news. She's tired of doing it endlessly.
This is the main line, in the vocals.
She's tired of being indignified. She's tired of hearing the news. She's tired of doing it endlessly. She's tired.
And then we have the top, I think.
She's tired of being dignified. She's tired of hearing news. She's tired of doing it endlessly.
And then we have the other pair, which is this. Sorry.
She's tired of being dignified. She's tired of hearing the news. She's tired of doing it endlessly. She's tired of living the blues.
And then the lower is this one.
She's tired of being undignified. She's tired of hearing the news. She's tired of doing it endlessly. She's tired of living the blues.
And then, yeah, a couple of rounds of that. And there's some bass picking here that is I guess I was listening to a lot of Macheso at that time, creating that bass pattern. I love playing it.
She's tired of constant hurt.
And this is a Obert Gomba kind of drum fill. At least that's what I had in mind when I was playing that. There's a bit of a chorus here before the big change of this song happens. Because we're going into this. So from going in, this is where we started. And now we're going here. The main key of the song is, but we're going to a parallel key, the minor key. So we've moved, the whole thing has moved down to this minor parallel key. Now, this is a part that I was like, actually I think I played this. This was how I started developing this song, yeah. And there's one Macheso song that has triggered all of this. It's the Madzitete from the previous album, where he's doing a crazy guitar solo. It kind of shifts into these major minor explorations. It's really cool. And to make this even, I don't know, darker, I put strings. And something that kind of glues this thing together, although we moved to this minor key, there's one element that is happening in the beginning and in the minor key. Sorry. So I'm using the same motif in the lead guitar as I did in the beginning. And then at this part. And the bass on rhythm is, which is what I told you, the beginning of the song. But instead of keeping it, the lead guitar is kind of developing from this point. It's going brighter and brighter, up. And that's the very top note on the guitar. I don't think, yeah, it's the top note. So what we heard there's like a, I'm introducing the backing harmonies. But quickly it cuts off and goes back into the verse.
She's tired of being dignified. She's tired of hearing the news. She's tired of doing it endlessly. She's tired of living the blues.
And this time it's without the bass. So it's in this Sungura fashion of dropping the bass. And on the second repeat, I've thrown in a Macheso trademark. Listen to this.
She's tired of being dehumanized. She's tired of staying alert. She's tired of feeling traumatized. She's tired of constant hurt. She's tired of being dehumanized. She's tired of staying alert. She's tired of feeling traumatized.
This thing is like you're in the basement of the bass.
She's tired of constant hurt. She's tired of...
So it's a trick that Macheso has used many times, and I couldn't keep myself. I had to include it. And progressing into... Okay, there's obviously the chimes, which is like a foreign element to Sungura. But now, at this point, the song has really moved away from the Sungura formula. With the strings, it's kind of a contemporary mix. The drums and the bass takes a pause, and we can hear the strings and this kind of melancholic rhythm guitar. And Chi-Chi, who is doing the backing vocals. I didn't write that part, she came up with it herself, and I think, well, we're gonna listen to it. As the band comes back in with the bass and the drums, she goes into this ooh. So let me mute the rapping for a second. And yeah. It really fits the other this whole section. I really like what you put in there. And at this point I've changed the bass a little bit. So 1, 2, 3. There's an added tone at the end. It really makes a difference because this do 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 has been repeating so many times. I needed to add something extra to it. And to top it off, we needed some. Yeah, I was thinking, should we have some more vocal lines here? No, we need rapping.
I'm tired of watching over my back, not having to think. Am I next? We carry the weight on our shoulders while you get to relax. I'ma wear my crown, I'ma claim the space. Move aside, the time has come. My voice will not be silenced, but heard loud and clear.
Yeah, so by now you've probably heard. I mean, obviously this song is a tribute to all black women, and to raise, to add a voice to their struggles, and to the battle of, yeah, making things better. She's doing 2 parts, and this was her.
It's time for us to be elevated, not backing down. You can't hold us down. We've lost enough. You better feel our powers depleted, but not defeated. You better know my name. You better say our names. You better taste our pain. Break the system. Redefine blackness. Protect black women.
So from this happy start, which is, I mean this part, we've suddenly turned into this dark string. And the ending is very dramatic as well. I just want to show you guys some detail on the strings here. These last notes are like plucked, and then at the top we have like this tremolo notes leading back to the ending. And at the ending I also added like a sub drop. Come on. Well, let me play it. Goom. Very low note there. You will hear it with headphones. Oh, here it is. For some reason it's not playing. Anyway, and then little effects. Alright. So for me this song has a lot of layers to it. But it's all based around this pattern. And also what's really my favorite thing about the song is this rhythm line, which is a step out of the Sungura thing. I don't know how to describe this actually, but it's gonna be fun to do this live. Right. I haven't really covered the drums a lot, but let's see if you can look at drums on the last thing, which is my favorite. The song title, My Favorites. For those of you who are still following, thank you a lot. Gonidzasze Dzore. My favorite is my favorite. Thanks. Yeah, it's a bit of an impractical song title, but you know what? It is what it is. Okay, last song, guys. I'll try to wrap this up. My favorite starts. What we have here is I tried to do like a classic Sungura beginning. The guitar, I beefed it up with some settings here. It's like that laser guitar that cuts through. I think there's an interesting pair of rhythm guitars here. And Herbert Majeke told me, yeah, Eric, you gotta make variations on the rhythm guitars. Because on Roller Coaster, I'm not really changing it up a lot. On some of the songs that you've heard here today, I am doing a lot of changing guitar rhythm parts. On this song, it's not changing a lot. So what you hear, this is almost playing through the entire song, and this is a long song, 10 minutes plus. Yes, I'm singing in Shona again, and we have, let's listen quickly to the vocals. They consist of 3-part harmony.
Zengeza, Seke Road, Chitungniza, Chi-town. It is my favorite place in Zimbabwe.
Chi-town, Chitungwiza, Seke Road. Yeah, you get it.
Borode, Sungura, Musewe, Tendera.
Here I'm mentioning my favorite music styles. And in the third one, I'm mentioning
Zambezi.
Oh, Zambezi.
Zambezi, Mahewu.
Mahewu. So I'm not talking about Zambezi the river, but yeah, you know.
Mazoe, Chibuku.
So we're on the liquids there. And the last verse.
Dedede, Matemba, Mubora, Sata.
The food of Zim. Some name dropping. Like I was struggling to figure out how to include some Shona, and then I had this silly idea of doing this, singing about my favorite things in Zimbabwe. That's what it is. And then the lead guitar and bass line is kind of a couple. They work together. And it's not that different from She Tired, but it's a different tune. Yeah. So a couple of rounds of that in the beginning. Yeah, this song starts out as a very typical Sungura arrangement.
In Zimbabwe.
And then it goes into a variation. Oh, this is like John Chibadura bass. Now. A couple of crazy kicks there. the bass drum, the bass guitar escapes as usual, and now we can hear the guitars shining through. And then another round of vocals. And on this one, I had been listening to, again, Macheso, his 2017 album. There's these intense vocal parts when the bass is off, and I wanted to have some of that energy. So the length of this is like one. Normally I would stop by there, like after four bars, or a period of 4, but it continues. 5. It stops at 6, which is something I've heard a lot in Sungura. Like, there's not this even number thing. It's different. So it's a couple of rounds, and then that's the beginning theme. So it comes back there at the... Oh, sorry, I'm lost. Yeah, so that was a repetition of that line. Reusing. Oh, this is like from Dendera music. You know when in some of Simon and Zulu Chimbetu's music you have this. On the lead guitar. And then there's this crazy dunk kicks, or what should I call it? This is again like probably something I've picked up from Tungai Moyo. Or like this thing of adding one more and one more and one more. It's very DRC. Verason. And this is where I've found it extremely helpful to have the rhythm guitars just keep on playing the same thing. And the bass and the drums is kind of going into this crazy part. When it's alone, it doesn't sound that cool. So, of course, the rhythm guitar needs to be there. It was a lot of fun figuring out this bass line, because it's going into steady notes, but also a lot of this whoom. Now, before we close up, again, the rhythms are the same. But the bass on the lead has moved to the minor key. If you're in C sharp, if you're in C major and you go down to A minor, that's the parallel key to C, which is a minor key. But the interesting thing is that the rhythm guitars stick to the original thing. That's because it's compatible. That's the word I was looking for. Because when you have parallel keys of major minor, you can still keep structures from the major key and they still work in the minor. This was a terrible explanation from me, but I'll get into this again later, I think. So here I give you a kind of a taste of that motif. And before it jumps into a bass solo. And this bass solo is different in the sense that it's playing on that minor. It's like a bass solo in a minor key. So again, the Mazzitete song from Acceso kind of triggered this, experimenting not in the conventional do 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 5, the major setup, but I'm moving it into the parallel minor key. And there's a couple of Mazibaba trademarks here in the bass, I think. Oh, that's a Macieso thing. This is like a dun 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 dun. That's one of Matsibaba's songs. I copied that rhythm. Ba-da-ba-bum. But then I take it up a level, trying to imitate guitars, like Congolese seben guitar. And maybe the Matsibaba bass player trademark, I think it was it Nasho, his name. This open string. This. Open strings on the bass, yeah, that's so cool. And then the bass solo is done, and the funny thing, the song is only about 2/3 through, so there's a lot left here. But that's a whole big repetition. The rhythms are the same as before. We are hearing this guitar line that we got a taste from previously. Now, what I wanted to do here is to change it up a bit. The drums is now the next thing that starts cooking. So going from traditional Sungura, there's like, I pushed a button for Dendera. Ah. One. What happens throughout this is like a whole development, small minor changes. The bass now is playing which is something you might have heard in the solo. So I'm reusing the phrases from the solo, and then the vocals. Yeah, this is like 4 layers of And this is also music that I had composed previously. I put it in one of my videos on YouTube. I was playing the drums, and I knew this wasn't. I could not be the beginning of a song. It was definitely the end point. So here it is at the end. The very last thing is it's kind of shifting gears when the lead guitar goes into this brighter. And I think at this point, I consider this like a mixture of Sungura and some DRC kind of guitar, especially when it goes. And now the bass is also playing. I don't know what this is considered. Like, there's some gospel touch to this. Oh, especially this is something that I. Naftali and Prince, drummer in Harare, they use this for sim praise. So I'm paraphrasing you guys. And also this bass is like South African, like Huma Sekela bass style. Those typical intervals, bass patterns. Yeah, so, and this is the part that fades out. It's very long. It's like I wanted to have like a huge instrumental chunk that just, you know, when you're feeling the groove and you just want it to continue and continue groove. Once the groove is established, don't stop. So I wanted this to be like excessively repeating and going on forever, forever, forever. And then it turned, then it came out as 10 minutes, almost 10 minutes and 30 seconds. All right. Yeah. And for those of you who listened to the end, you would have heard my thank you. I don't know if you know Mr. X-Trail. Great. Thank you so much for following. Let's see. Yeah, that's the whole entire album in like... Okay, I spent 1 hour 30 minutes on this live presentation. It's the first time I'm doing this, so I was a bit freaking out a bit about the software and the audio video setup, but I think it worked out. Guys, thank you for tuning in on the chat. I will try to respond to more comments. Thank you, the success story with Mike. You stopped watching what you were watching to catch up on this one. Thanks. And also Prince, Yaronasa, Germanston in Joburg, I presume. Good to have you. And Alan, yes, I was using Logic Pro for my recording. if there are no other questions now that remains, I'm gonna put on this mask and return to society. I wish you all a very happy new year. We expect a lot from 2021. It has to be a much better year. Personally, I'm happy to have released my album, and I will continue making more music in the coming year. And since I'm now done with my album, I have more time to make videos here on YouTube, because I've had a break from that. I'll do some more videos for YouTube now. Konstantin Chirasha, I don't know if you're still here, but Eric, do you produce for other artists? I'm definitely available. So we do some projects every now and then. Oliver, yes, thank you for your contact details. We'll get into that. And everyone else who stumbled into this live stream, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good... Tomorrow is the last day of December of this year. I wish you a good end of 2020, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Peace out.